A very good evening. The show's called The Big Story and I'm Deepthi Sachdeva. With you it is 6 p.m. and 6 p.m. is time for us to put out discussion with our entire panel of guests on a topic that relates directly to you. This, remember, is a special COVID-19 broadcast that we are getting to you. Over the last many days, a lot of conversation has been centered around the India vaccine story. Does India have enough of vaccines? How soon will the entire country be able to get vaccinated? How many doses will we require? How many booster doses is what we will be looking at? And what really is the big India vaccine story? Let me quickly introduce our entire panel of guests that joins us, that will be taking all your questions that you've also sent to us on republicworld.com. Dr. Rahul Pandit is the Director of Critical Care at the Fortis Hospitals in Mumbai, also a member of the National COVID Task Force. He joins us on the broadcast. Dr. Pavitra Venkat Gopalan is a coronavirologist by training and PhD in the microbiology and a lab director at the Care Health Diagnostic Lab. Joining us on the broadcast from Chennai, Dr. Padma Srivastav is the Chief of the Neurosciences Center from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and she, remember, really has been at the center of this big fight, because I do remember she did take that Covaxin jab when it was in the trial stage first up. Dr. Vishal Rao is the Dean of the Center for Academic Research, HCG Cancer Center, and member of the expert committee of the COVID Task Force in Karnataka, joins us on the broadcast from Bengaluru. A very good evening to all of you. We are talking of vaccines, and when you talk of vaccines, Dr. Rahul Pandit, let me take the first question to you. We all want to know that in the near future, what is it that we are looking at? Because, you know, a lot of people have got vaccinated, but a lot of them have still not been able to get their jabs. Now, today we've heard Dr. V.K. Paul actually speaking out at length about this, because he said that, listen, these are not off-the-counter things that you just go to the market, pick your jabs, and you say that you have bought them. Now, what in your assessment, sir, is the timeline we are looking at where India could be sufficiently placed to be able to jab almost every one of us?
Dipti, good evening, and thank you very much for having me on your show. I think it is going to be a good month or two more before we will actually have sufficient supplies of vaccine at a regular interval. Okay, now obviously the vaccine supply has improved in the last 3 or 4 weeks. What we were last 2 weeks ago, it's definitely better, but I think it needs to further ramp up to the point that we should be able to vaccinate our entire population as short span as possible. Now, it would be really good to get everybody vaccinated before the next 4 or 5 months. And maybe the latest we could stretch out is by the year end. But even that is looking a little bit difficult right now with the way we are currently.
Then, Dr. Pavitra, let me take that question from where Dr. Rahul has left. Where did we miss it? I mean, at a point where India is the pharmacy of the world, India is considered to be the place when it comes to vaccine production, vaccine dissemination. Where do you think, Dr. Pavitra, that we lost it? And even now, if you look at what has being happening in the states, a lot of states are complaining, Dr. Pavitra, that they do not have jabs to inoculate people who are coming for second doses. They do not have jabs to inoculate especially the adult population between 18 to 44. So what is it that the states should be doing right now? What is your advice to all states?
I will disagree with you a little bit here, Deepthi, in saying that we have perhaps failed, because this kind of supply chain bottleneck, I don't think we have ever faced. Yes, of course, India is the biggest vaccine manufacturer in the world. And I know that different companies have been ramping up their production long before the vaccine trials were even done, so that they will be able to get production out. For example, I know other pharmaceutical companies were looking for glass vials where they were purchased in bulk in advance by a lot of the vaccine manufacturing companies. So regarding, so I would say that it is just an unexpected situation where the supply chain process itself is under a great deal of pressure. Regarding what the states need to be doing, I am not sure what it needs to be doing in terms of procurement, because that is a whole different expertise when it comes to public health. But in the meantime, what we are facing is a lack of awareness. The more we educate people, I know a lot of vaccine camps happen in different locations where people come but they're afraid to take the jab. So perhaps until we bridge that gap between that supply and procurement of the jabs, we can have a lot more energy dedicated towards raising awareness among people that are eligible to be vaccinated at the earliest.
Okay. I mean, I second that sentiment, obviously, because these are extraordinary circumstances, Dr. Pavitra. But, being optimistic and I think we all have a lot of expectations, especially from the government of the day. Now, to you, Dr. Padma, because I still remember that image, of you taking the Covaxin during the trial stage. You were one of the first doctors who volunteered to take that jab. Now, I want to today know that because of the shortage, especially in Delhi, if you have some centers that are being shut down, they are not being able to inoculate the young population, that is 18 to 44, but a lot of people have not been able to even get their second dose. Now, Dr. Padma, what should they be doing? How soon can they still get their second dose? I mean, for those who are taking Covaxin and those who have to take Covishield, ma'am.
Right. You're right, Deepti. So there's been a huge issue between the demand and supply. And we are walking on a tightrope, definitely. But instead of trying to answer the bloodstain misconceptions about, trying to answer out, there are these issues, center versus state, and several other issues, I think we're wasting time. I think this is a time when holistically all the governments, everybody should try and get a plan of action in place. There's been limitations, there's been problems. So instead of that, I think one is the demand that needs to be ramped up. And as I understand, there's been assurances by all the government agencies that, there is certainly they're ramping up a lot of supplies. And I hope they do that. But besides that, I think they should also try and tweak in how they're going to deliver these vaccines to the people. And that is something, you can't expect people to come and take the vaccine. You need to go out into the public and take the vaccine. And there is no other way than, I think, getting that. Maybe get a little assistance, involve the local leaders, the religious persons somewhere, the rural people can actually believe in, they will listen to. So that amount of vaccine will go. Now also I see some visuals where some villagers were jumping into the river because they didn't want to take a vaccine. There are several other issues where you can channelize your energy. Yes, ramp up your demand. Get the supply. Get your supply chain in place. So that how are you going to do that? You're getting a Pfizer and Moderna. Do you have your -70, -80 systems in place? Do you have, the vaccine bank or, those kind of systems where you can go integral into the society? I think all these things should be done. That is important. There is, I think we can spend energies into that aspect rather than trying to keep on answering questions about somebody trying to raise questions from center versus state. I think we need to channelize energies into better things. That's what I really feel. And I don't think any other governments are going to really, wantingly try and get this thing out of hand. Everybody's energy should be channelized into answering and address the limitations today, rather than try and answer why this has not happened and who is to be blamed. That way we are losing the energy.
I think that's a good point. That's a good point, that let's make the best of the resources that are available to us. Let's try to distribute that to the population. I think that is most vulnerable. Something that also Dr. V.K. Paul had enunciated earlier in his entire interview. Dr. Vishal Rao, why don't you then tell us, one of our viewers is asking us that could India ever be looking at a single dosage vaccine? Could that ever happen? And he wants to know what is the timeline, and he also wants to know whether he should wait for a single dose vaccine. What, in your opinion, sir, is the best way forward?
Deepti, I think if you look at the timelines that we've used earlier for even oral polio vaccine, it has taken us about 18 years. to complete the full population. Now we are talking about an entire population being done, and that's not a joke. So when we are talking about a few billion of the population, now naturally at this juncture, I don't think we should have a menu card in front of us to choose which one among them to choose, because I personally have told even my own family that look, don't bother about which particular vaccine brand. I've got one, my other family member has got another. Do not waste your time looking at it like a menu card, trying to look at which choices do we have to make. The most important thing right now is that if you are vaccinated, it can save a life. And so I would earnestly request the viewers to say, don't hanker into this discussion of saying which vaccine, which one, which is international, which is national. At this juncture, you have to overcome the second wave and save yourself from the third wave. And that can only happen through two aspects. Number one, your mask is your first vaccine. Number two, take whichever vaccines that you get in your thing. And in this, I would like to emphasize again, a lot of discussions are happening around mixing vaccines. Somebody is saying, I'll take this one and then I'll take this another one. Yes. I think what's important today is a global literature is very clear on this. The heterologous clinical trials for vaccines have not been done. That is mixing vaccine, when you take one of the first one and the second one. However, recently Lancet came out with a very nice note on this about the need for heterologous clinical trials for vaccines, and in which they actually pointed out that several countries that are asking people who have taken the first shot of the Oxford vaccine or AstraZeneca vaccine to take the second dose of the mRNA vaccine. And this particular article very clearly elucidated that the reactogenicity, the immunogenicity and the safety have still not been found. So please do not try to do so. That is very, very important for our viewers to know, that it is not advisable to change your vaccine. And what they found in the limited literature today is that there are high reactions when you change the vaccines. Although it was not life-threatening, but it's still higher reaction rates that they found. So it's very important for people to grab the vaccines that they have. The last point that I want to make is currently there are 22 vaccine companies that have been approved across the world, 22. And of which I think 14 of them fall into the SRAs of the WHO, the stringent regulatory authorities. I think we should at this juncture try to look at opening the gates for as many of them as possible, so that we are able to vaccinate as many of our population as early as possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I think each and every answer that has come so far from our entire panel of experts here is enlightening, because this covers in, I think, a lot of do's and don'ts, Dr. Rahul, that a lot of people have been talking about. You know, these days you have a mobile, you have a lot of forwards, WhatsApp, you know, messages coming in trying to tell you do this, do that. If you mix this with that, this works. You know, only take this vaccine, do not take those vaccines. So don't listen, I think, to any of those messages. That is why we tell our viewers that every day at 6 p.m. we'll get the best experts. We'll ask your questions to them and only follow their advice. Now, in the middle of all this, Dr. Pandit, there is one question, in fact, one aspect that still raises a lot of concern. At one point where we are looking at not many people still being able to get their jabs, why the hell should we still have vaccine wastage, sir? I mean, this is something that appalls me today, because I have not been able to get my jab because, you know, I could not get this in sitting in Delhi. All the vaccine centers are shut. But on the other side, you have states that are wasting vaccines, and that is criminal, Dr. Pandit.
Absolutely. I'm sorry my connection dropped off. The phone line got disconnected when I was about to complete the answer. But I think that as soon as the other panelists said, I echo those sentiments that we need to channelize our energies into getting people vaccinated. But I completely am in sync with what you are saying, that vaccine wastage today is a criminal thing. Not one drop of this vaccine should be wasted. We should try and maximize the vaccination use and minimize the wastage to the best possible thing. I think that is just the minimum thing which is expected. So we need to be able to produce the 11th dose out of each vial which comes up, which is sort of the 10 doses which are there. And there is no reason why we should be not able to do that. The second thing is the cold chain maintenance. That's the bare minimum what we can do. The cold chill maintenance has to be to the point that there is no vaccines wastage because of lack of cold chill maintenance by any reason whatsoever. And these are the two things which are again important. But I again would like to emphasize 2 points here, that we have to go out into the community. We have to go to the Gram Panchayat offices and set up vaccination camps there. Follow all the government norms, but go to the doorstep of the people. Of course, door-to-door, home-to-home vaccination is not possible because it's an injection, not a drop. But you can at least go and set up in the mohallas, in the villages, in the Gram Panchayat offices, in the cities. It should be like an election process. I should not be needing to walk for more than 500 meters or a kilometer in a city to reach to the nearest vaccination booth, and maybe a couple of kilometers in a village to reach to a nearest vaccination booth. And until that happens, whenever you are stepping out of the house, please do a double masking. Even if after you've taken the vaccine, please adhere to the corona appropriate behavior of taking the mask, social distancing, and sanitization absolutely as a bare minimum thing for the next 1 year at least. These are the few messages which I think people should get very clear about.
For one year, Dr. Rahul Pandit here has said that no matter what, you have to wear your masks. You have to follow COVID appropriate behavior. I think these are little things that if all of us follow, I think we might as well just avoid the third wave. Something that a lot of people, again, Dr. Pavitra, have been talking about, that there is going to be an impending third wave. But the point is that why will we have a third wave if we follow all COVID appropriate behavior, if most of us, actually get vaccinated? But tell me something, in this entire fight then against the coronavirus, Dr. Pavitra, how important is this link of the private hospitals? Because, I'll give you a case of example in Delhi. In Delhi, the private hospitals have been able to procure a lot of vaccines. A lot of people have been able to get themselves vaccinated at private centers vis-a-vis the government centers. They are reporting less wastage also. More people are turning up at private centers to get themselves vaccinated. They in fact are sending you messages, reminders, a lot of information, conversation happening. Now, do you think that's a model that is good enough to implement throughout the country?
It's a very good point where you're saying the private hospitals play a significant role in creating awareness. Like I said, even in the earlier comment, it is the awareness that plays a big role in getting this vaccine compliance. I got my second dose at a government center and my first dose as a private center. The experience that you have, the kind of conversations that you have, the kind of education that you're given at the site of, at the time of vaccination plays an important role in how comfortable you feel in taking it. We are maybe digressing here a little bit. A lot of the hospitality and the people skills that are inculcated in a private hospital makes a difference in your experience in taking the vaccine also. Of course, this is not to say that the government center was bad. They had excellent facilities, but the kind of comfort that you get from somebody who tells you what you need, doesn't dismiss your questions, makes a difference in how you feel about taking the vaccine. Unfortunately, for a lot of the people, going to a private hospital involves a lot of fear because of various other factors that come into play. So they tend to go to a government center which do a great job with the cold storage and documentation and things like that, but they are not convinced by the experience that they have. So it's a balance of these two, educating the people. See, like I think somebody said about the polio vaccination, took 18 years. Now people go stand in line because of all the awareness work that was created in public and private sectors. So something like that constantly reaches out to people, reassuring them of its necessity, of the dangers of not getting vaccinated, and the safety of the vaccines that are available will definitely make an important role, will play an important role in how successfully we get this done.
Okay, now we are almost towards the fag end of the show, but I still have two very important questions and I want quick comments from Dr. Padma and Dr. Vishal. Dr. Padma, I want to understand from you, ma'am, that people who've already picked up 2 doses, now for how long does their immunity really last? And what about the booster dose that we are talking about? In how much time would we require a booster dose, and that will give you immunity for how long? Have studies been able to answer that question yet, ma'am?
Right. Deepti, if you can hear me, because I think audio is a little bit of an issue here. Can you hear me, Deepti?
Yes, we
okay.
can, ma'am.
So what I would say is that
we can hear you very well, ma'am.
every day there is COVID is actually teaching us new things, and the goalposts is changing because of the changing science and understanding as we go with. Yeah, we don't know. There's what's going on, but a lot of science is pointing towards the fact that the memory is variable. There are projections that is to turn something like a flu, and we would probably that this is going to stay with us. Said that though, the difference in time between two shocks are also changing every few weeks. It's a sort of a balancing act between the demand and the supply, which is also backed by a lot of science. Said that, I think we would at some time and then keep on changing it. And the disclaimer as it stands right now that we will change according to the evolving science. Therefore, at this point in time, it seems that we need booster dose deeply.
Okay. My director tells me, Dr. Vishal, that we need to wrap, but I have to just give you 10 seconds on the last final question. In the US, the CDC has said that people who are fully vaccinated can take off their masks. Do you think ever India is going to be on that situation anytime soon? People who are fully vaccinated, say at your home, in your community, can you do away with masks?
I was surprised myself when CDC gave this recommendation, but I did do a lot of thing, and I also contacted my counterpart friends in the US. And I think the CDC's recommendation comes from a lot of logic and science, not just a random decision. It comes from the science that they found that earlier we believed that after the 2 vaccine doses, it reduces the intensity of the disease but does not reduce the transmission rate. But in the latest data that they have found with health workers and with the general public, they found that it also reduced the transmission rates, and that's why they've taken some amount of scientific and logical decision towards this.
Okay.
It's a carefully balanced decision.
Okay. And we in India are not doing that. You will not take off your mask. You will have to follow COVID appropriate behavior only for want of time. But Dr. Rahul Pandit, Dr. Pavitra, Dr. Padma, Dr. Vishal, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you to all of you for your time, your good points here, your good advice that you've shared here. RepublicWorld.com is where this broadcast will go, viewers, where you can watch it later. And yes, keep sending us your questions. Republic will keep telling you, stay strong, India. Thank you for watching. Back on the other side with lots more.